So I think we can all agree that relationships are really, really complicated to develop, to establish, to maintain. And one of the key ingredients to successful relationships, and this is a word that you've probably heard me say repeatedly, and you're going to be like, oh, Vitala, here we go again, empathy. Empathy is such a powerful trait that makes or breaks relationships, both in the business world and in your personal lives with friends, with loved ones, in marriages. And I want to break it down to what empathy really means and what it really looks like, and the nuances and the impact that it has. And yes, this does tie into Black Lives Matter. So if you're bored of Black Lives Matter, you can already turn off the video, but I'll explain, and this will bring value to your relationships too, by the way. So here's the analogy or the example. And before you condemn me, analogies or examples do not have to be identical. They just have to have a common trait, something that overlaps, that communicates the core message. So let's take mass murders, for example, when it comes to empathy. And I'm going to use the example of Manson. Charles Manson. I think we've all heard of Charles Manson. All right, so let's say that I post on Facebook or having a conversation with somebody and I bring up the subject of Charles Manson, and it just so happens that Sharon Tate, who was one of his victims, was my sister, somebody that I deeply loved, somebody that I knew that I was connected to. And I'm talking about Charles Manson to you, and I'm saying, you know what? Around the late 60s, he killed 11 women. He raped, stabbed, and it really hurts deeply. And every time that I hear a story of Charles Manson, it just breaks my heart because it reminds me of the pain that I lost somebody that I love. And then you tell me, you say in the defense, excuse me, Vital, actually, he technically didn't kill them. And it wasn't 11, it was actually either 7 or 9. So here's what happens when it comes to empathy. You have now not empathized with my pain. You have been preoccupied with focusing on you being right and trying to educate me as to the details of a situation. It wasn't 11, Vital. It was 7 or 9, and again, technically, he didn't kill them. You have denied my reality. You have denied my pain by focusing on you. Empathy is all about focusing and understanding the other person. It's not about you. So again, you focusing on you being right and trying to educate. And some of you will say, yeah, but wait a minute, Vital. It is my responsibility to educate you and make sure that your facts are correct. But in the context of the big picture, who gives a real shit? Who gives a crap whether it was 11 or 7? Who gives a crap whether he technically used the knives himself and stabbed them? The essence of the argument and the grandeur of the pain is focused on the evil, the wrong that Charles Manson executed. And my heart is broken. I bleed every day at the memory of my dearest friend, Sharon Tate. And you know what, son of a bitch? You're going to focus on the technicalities of what was right and what was wrong. That is insensitive, it is lacking empathy, and it will create a rift in our relationship. In common day life, in everyday life, this is what happens when it comes to empathy, why relationships break down. We become, and I'm including myself in this because I too am a victim of this behavior. We become so preoccupied in making a stand for something that is important to us, denying and negating the other person's reality or their pain because I'm so focused on I'm right. And I'm going to educate you and I'm going to put you in your place. It doesn't serve a purpose. This correlates directly to Black Lives Matter. If I express something that is an illustration of the massive injustice that has been perpetrated during the past 400 years, and one of the details is incorrect, you are not helping me by highlighting or focusing on that detail, because that little detail compared to the expanse of the injustice is trivial. If you want to be of value in the Black Lives Matter movement, if you want to help, what I'm asking you, and I want you to implement this in your personal life, if you want to help somebody who is struggling, who is experiencing pain, grief, hurt, simply listen and try to understand what they're feeling, why they're feeling it. If you are going to defend a little detail, you're basically saying, I'm more preoccupied with this inaccuracy than I am on the injustice of mass murder, Charles Manson, of systemic racism, of pedophilia. It applies with children. A child tells you, I've been raped by my local pastor, and you deny that reality, or I say, you know what, he touched me over the course of 6 weeks. And then you were to say, actually, it wasn't 6 weeks, it was only 3. How insensitive of you to do that. So my ask of you, my call to action is, if you want to be of value of people who are hurting, who are in grief, who are experiencing trauma, who are afraid, make it about them. Do not make it about you.